It's day 5. Hi everybody. Melinda asked me to talk about day 5 and how it's going for me. And, I thought, what am I going to talk about? Well, actually there's a lot going on. I've kept up with this Juice Feast. I've kept up a full schedule. I'm in the midst of a construction project with a construction crew. And so the first couple of days were kind of rough, especially day 3. I thought I was going to die on day 3. But day 4, day 5, with a little bit of normal sleep, have been pretty good. And one of the things that I found, especially the last 2 days, is I've had more inspiration, more thoughts about really what I want to do with a new level of energy and vitality and inspiration. And also I'm getting more into the groove of juice feasting. There's a lot to learn. I've added some supplements to the program, including, well, because we just got a shipment of things. We've been waiting for a long time for them to come, and they got here a little bit late. One of them is Colosan. Colosan is a very special supplement. What it does is it cleanses the intestines, as opposed to just the colon. So it helps clean the upper tract, and it oxidizes at the same time. And so that is really, really majorly helpful at a time when you're trying to get into this juice feasting groove. And then we finally got a good high potency vitamin C, which is great for keeping the juices fresh. We got our super green stuff came in, right? Let's see what else. Oh, I started the Para Cleanse, my second round. There's like a 10-day parasite cleanse, and then you stop for 10 days and you start all over again. So it's going real well. And in the midst of doing all this, we have multiple projects here going on. Among them, I'll tell you some of the exciting things. We're doing what's called a vermiculture farming kind of thing here, and that means we're starting a worm farm, a small-scale worm farm. So with all this kitchen compost that's being generated from the Juice Feast, we can put that into a bin. We're about to drill holes in the bottom because the red worms we're putting in don't like water, don't like to be waterlogged. They become anaerobic, and then the whole farm begins to smell like regular compost. But if you do it right, there is no smell. You can actually keep it in your house if you want to. And it's quite a nifty thing. And then we put that back into an organic garden, which we're expanding hugely here around the house. We just trimmed a whole bunch of trees, allowing the sunlight to come in. So that's two actually major projects. We have our vermiculture, we have our organic garden that's growing. Thirdly, I'm making plans to convert our water heating system here to solar. And so with the extra sunlight, that's going to work out perfectly. And by the time we get through the 25% state tax credit and the 30% federal tax credit, 55% of the cost of the system will be paid for by the U.S. government. So it's a fabulous thing, and you should look into it. So that's project number 3. Project number 4. We are about to make a major expansion in our website by adding another blog besides Melinda's wonderful Shining Star Miracles blog. We're going to do another Raw Wisdom blog. And with that, we're going to coordinate a campaign to be announced as soon as we can announce it, which we're going to do a news release, and it involves genetic engineering and trying to undo that whole, what I call a violation of nature and of the very core of life on our planet. And more on that. We should have a separate talk on what that's all about, because it's such an important issue. Sometimes I kid about it. What happens when you mix, I don't know, Marlene Dietrich with George Bush, when they're not meant to be mixed. Mix their genes, you get mush, right? But actually it's one of the most serious issues on our planet, and so we need to address it. So, let's see, what else has been happening today on this exciting day? Um, we're making um, we're making some transitions, and we're making progress in our construction project and getting some really skilled labor to work so that I don't have to struggle so hard to get things going and achieved. We're building a fence around the house which will also keep the animals out of the garden and allow us to have some privacy and enjoy the sunshine, so we can have some more vitamin D, which helps in preventing breast cancer, helps in a whole host of illnesses, so you feel much better. We got our hot water heater at least going, although we're about to replace it. This is why we decided we're going to replace this. This is broken down like 7 times, so we're now able to take showers, which is a part of the program. Oh boy, Melinda, what else has happened in our glorious life here? Oh my God. Yeah, I invited a new person to come to our raw food potluck, which is going to be on the 12th of this month. Right at the end of the month, we're going to be in Washington D.C. at the Raw Spirit Festival. We are also planning to invite some. I haven't yet been able to work on it, but I will get to it, some famous speakers to come here to the Oneonta area and talk about raw and living foods. As some of you may know, the primary focus of the core essence of the website Raw Wisdom is about a life-centered worldview. If you can think of spokes of a wheel, then everything comes from that center. And a life-centered worldview is also a consciousness-centered worldview. If you watch a video like Planet Earth, and you look at all the millions of different life forms on this planet, the one thing they have in common is consciousness. And whether it is the tiniest bacteria or even nanobacteria, or an elephant or a dinosaur. The other day, I had a bee sting me, and I kind of put it under a little magnifying glass, and I watched it squirm around, and we want to squat it and kill it, but actually it's such a magnificent life form. And after it stung you, you want to just but actually nature is so marvelous and so excitingly beautiful. And but the common element to all of life is consciousness, and one of the greatest insights of my life has been to discover that consciousness really forms the universal relationship of connection in nature. And it's what binds nature together, what forms its essence. And once we understand that, and once we make this paradigm shift to understand what life and consciousness is, the most important of all issues on the planet really is to understand that for our own spiritual growth and well-being. And if there is a universal relationship of connection in nature, that means all of nature is ultimately one, if that's what's at the heart of nature. And so it's also the spiritual realization of the oneness of all things. And then the question is, how do you then go from that realization to have some meaningful guidance for your everyday life? And it's a little like, I compare it to zooming in and zooming out of a Google map, right? You first need the big picture, and then you go to zoom in to guide your life. And a life-centered worldview leads to a raw food, peace-loving, peaceful, loving, compassionate, hopeful, positive kind of a lifestyle. So that's it for today. We're excited to be able to share this experience, this life-affirming experience with all of you. Take care. Love you much. Bye from Raw Wisdom.